You guys were waiting for this? Now it's time to reveal 5 characters that should not be in Disney Star Wars if I directed it. The obvious number 1, Rose Tico. Look, Rose Tico should have been a much developed character, but based on how she's been used in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, it basically was kind of no use. I mean, she was there to help Finn find the Master Codebreaker, which that scene alone, in my opinion, was just kind of forced a little bit. And it definitely didn't make a lot of sense because it completely went off from the actual plotline, in my opinion, and it kind of messed things up. Plus, she got into a bit of a attempted love triangle between Finn and Rey a little bit, considering that Finn had his feelings for Rey. So I don't understand how that kind of went on the wayside. And no offense, after her sister Paige, Tico, that's her sister's name who sacrificed herself, by the way, she kind of was upset. And that one line that she says, sometimes we just need to cling to those we love. During a war, you need to really think about what you just said there. It's one thing to cling to those you love, but it's another to completely sacrifice yourself to protect those you love. So, if you're going to be reckless just to save someone at the risk of trying to priestly kill everyone else in the rebellion, that's kind of selfish. I'm sorry, but Rose Tico is a definite number 1. Number 2, Vice Admiral Emilian Holdo. Ugh. Can you name another character that's frustrating? Well, besides her being a very frustrating character and possibly didn't tell people what was going on or even give them a plan in the midst of war, that basically is Holdo. Holdo became a very hated character because she was like, you just gotta trust me, but she never told him that she planned to basically help the rebellion flee, which if she did tell them, there should have been probably no rebellion in of itself from Poe Dameron and his crew, which, yeah, that was kind of But Holdo also, while she sacrificed herself basically to help the resistance get away from the First Order, it was the logic that made no sense, and that's just poor writing. Now, it's another thing with the hyperspace again, which that has been a highly debated discussion, and basically you gotta just plan out the hyperspace and not just go like, hyperspace explosion. So yeah, that basically didn't make sense. Her sacrifice was good, it helped them, but the logic made no sense. She should have been a developed character, but because of how she was treated, she basically should not be in there. Oh, also, if Admiral Akbar made it, she probably wouldn't be in there either. Number 3, DJ. For those who don't know, DJ was the prisoner with Rose and Finn when they were looking for the Codebreaker, and then the guy claimed that he could get him out, and he was the Codebreaker and all that. He was briefly there. He was not really much of a major character, but he ended up betraying him to the First Order for money. He's like, sorry. Look, dude, I'm sorry, but that's kind of short-lived. He's only a minor character, I know, but he shouldn't be in there because it made kind of like another push away from the actual plotline a little bit, in my opinion. And also, it kind of made it look like he basically didn't care too much until he got money. And sadly, as you guys know, Rose and Finn really didn't have that much at all to deal with that. So basically, the portrayal was very harsh. But if he wasn't in there and there was a completely different plot line and all that, his character would not be necessary for the plot, so he's definitely a no. Number 4, Maz Katana. I'm sorry if I misspoke or missay it, but let me explain why she should not be in there. And I know she found the Star Wars lightsaber of Luke Skywalker from Empire Strikes Back. But there is a reason why I don't think she should be part of this, because if you guys want me to explain, let me explain real quick. While she did get the lightsaber because they found it in a trash area on Cloud City, It was completely unnecessary for her to just only show up to show lightsaber for Rey, to get her destiny and all that, but then never really show up too much for the rest of the Star Wars trilogy. Another wasted character by Disney, like really bad. If she was in Star Wars universe in my direction, and she did get the lightsaber, she would actually tell the story. She didn't even tell. She says, "Oh, another time." Never happened. It never freaking happened. So what's the point of saying another time if you never actually tell the story? That is basically a good slap in the face. Even with the recent news that Daisy Ridley just said that they never had a plan, that really infuriated a lot of fans. Even Star Wars Theory was infuriated by it. So that's not going to go well. But we're not done yet. We still got one more. The last character I will not add in, Zoe Bliss. Before you guys go out in the comments saying, "What? She was a enjoyable character." The problem is, though, that's the thing. She was an enjoyable character, but she wasn't mentioned that much in the entire series. Where was she in the beginning of Force Awakens and The Last Jedi? We never knew. It was like, oh, by the way, we're going to go to a planet. There's a friend there. Oh, there she is, Zoe Bliss. Look, you can't just be another one-shot character and expect to get a lot of praise. Some characters, however, do deserve to be just one-shot characters. I get that. But if you don't have a backstory or even a direction, you don't get a lot of respect. However, as Daisy Ridley said, again, they didn't have a plan, so everything kind of went downhill. Now, keep in mind, Poe did give a brief backstory that they had a history. And yes, some one-shot characters do get a lot of love and respect. To clarify myself and correct myself a little bit, it doesn't mean, however, that she was necessary. I mean, she did help him escape, and they did give more backstory to Poe in that sense. But I will be honest, guys, Poe probably will not be getting that much of a story in my series, considering I've already given a backstory. So, rather than Poe being the main character, spoiler alert, he's going to be a very supporting character in the series. But that's another episode later. Now for a couple of honorable mentions. First time I'm doing that, actually, for an honorable mention. The Knights of Ren. The Knights of Ren, again, were supposed to be very good characters, very developed, and very powerful. But they didn't get the full development they deserved. Yet, to everyone's surprise, they probably were very cool to look at. But if there was a lot better writing, they probably would have been much developed. And they probably would have been a lot more creative and very terrifying. So chances are they'll probably make it into the final cut when I direct it. If I direct Disney Star Wars. Why say when I direct it? That's kind of silly. They already made the Star Wars. They're not going to revamp it or anything. Imagine they somehow said that a few months later. It's like, we're revamping the Disney trilogy. Like, that's going to happen. They're not going to do that. And the last honorable mention I will definitely bring is General Hux. Some of you might be like, what? That whiner? Well, he was a great character in The Force Awakens, but his character development deteriorated over time in The Last Jedi. Although it was kind of interesting, here comes the slam! But seriously though, I think if his character was well written, he probably would have been a much better character. His backstory in the comics was very tragic, including bullying and all that. But then again, I think we could safely say, out of all the characters, if there was a lot better writing, a lot better scripts and all that, which one of you actually did send me a script, which, thank you for that, they probably would have had a much better direction. However, these 5 characters that I said I will not bring into Disney Star Wars if I directed it, I'm sorry if you guys like the characters, but this is mainly my opinion. And if you had a lot better writing, the characters probably would have been much, much better. Now what guys would be asking some questions like, if this person did not get Anakin/Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, who would do it? I think that's saved for another episode, but I think I'm going to do a theory episode kind of, for the Disney Star Wars. Well, at least if I directed Disney Star Wars. So that way I could clear up some misconceptions.